The Ghostly Valley Climb. Yo, what's good, explorers? It's your boy, Tyler, back with another wild story for the channel. If you're new here, welcome to the crew. I'm all about chasing thrills in the creepiest, most off-the-grid places I can find. This one's from last summer, right after I graduated high school, when me and my squad thought we'd kick off our freedom with an epic adventure. Spoiler alert, it turned into one of the scariest days of my life. Grab a drink, smash that subscribe button, and let's dive into what went down in the Ghostly Valley Climb. Trust me, you're not ready for this. So, it was a couple weeks into summer, and I was living my best life. No school, no job, just pure vibes. In my part of Utah, there's this thing where new grads head out to the canyons or plateaus for some rock climbing. It's like our way of saying, we made it. My crewma, Lucas, and Riley had been hyping this up forever. We've been tight since middle school, always getting into some kind of adventure together. Emma's the one with the sick ride, this old Ford Bronco she's obsessed with. It's a beast for off-road trips, and since she doesn't drink, she was our designated driver. Perfect setup, right? The rest of Uzme, Lucas, and Riley were ready to bring some energy drinks and a few beers to celebrate once we conquered whatever cliff we picked. Our plan was to hit up this scenic lookout in Zion National Park first, then cruise through the back roads to find a dope spot for climbing. The lookout was straight up breathtaking: red cliffs, endless sky, the kind of view that makes you feel like you're in a movie. We spent an hour taking selfies and soaking it in, then piled back into the Bronco to scout for a climbing spot. We were rolling down a dusty stretch of Highway 9 when we spotted this killer area off the road. These huge, jagged rock formations were begging to be climbed. Not too insane, but enough of a challenge to make it worth our while. Emma pulled into a dirt lot, barely big enough for the Bronco, and we grabbed our climbing gear, stuffed our backpacks with drinks, and headed out. I've got some pics from that day I'll throw up on the screen. May made us take like 100 shots of her posing with the rocks. The plateau we chose was maybe a 20-minute climb. Nothing too technical, just a steady scramble with plenty of handholds and footholds. Emma led the way since she's basically a mountain goat. Then me, Lucas, and Riley in the back. The top was unreal. You could see forever. Just miles of desert and canyons under a blazing sun. We cracked open our drinks, sprawled out on the warm stone, and started talking about high school, our plans, and all the dumb stuff we'd gotten away with over the years. I was just chillin', staring out at the horizon, when I noticed a beat gray van speeding down the highway below. It caught my eye because it slowed way down by Emma's Bronco. Then get this, it stopped dead in the middle of the road and started reversing back toward our lot. I nudged the others, and we all went quiet, watching this van pull into the dirt lot. A guy got out, tall and lanky, wearing a faded jacket and a baseball cap. From up top, we couldn't see much detail, but something about the way he moved felt off. At first, we thought maybe he was just another climber or a hiker stopping to check out the area. But then he started circling the Bronco, peering into the windows, tugging at the handles, and even checking under the hood. It was sketchy as hell. Lucas shouted, "Hey man, what's good?" to let him know we were there. The guy flinched, looked around, and finally spotted us on the plateau. He gave this weird, slow wave, like he was trying to play it cool. We figured that'd be it. He'd realized the car wasn't abandoned and bounced out wrong. He kept messing with the Bronco, trying the doors again, and even kicking at the tires. Riley, who's got zero chill, yelled, "Yo, we're packing heat up here." Total lie, we had nothing but climbing ropes and snacks. I shot him a look like, "Dude, really?" But I got why he said it. We wanted this guy gone. Instead of backing off, the guy looked up, grinned, and shouted, "That's cute. I've got one too." Then he pulled something from his jacket, a freaking gun, and waved it in the air. My heart dropped to my stomach. Before we could even process it, he started smashing at the Bronco's driver's side window with the butt of the gun. We could hear the crack from where we were. Emma was pissed, screaming at him to stop, and we all started yelling, grabbing our stuff, and scrambling down the rock face as fast as we could. I've never climbed down anything so quick. We were slipping, scraping our hands, but adrenaline had us moving like superheroes. By the time we heard glass shatter, we'd hit the ground and were sprinting across the lot. The guy saw us coming, and swung the gun toward us, yelling, "Back up." We froze, hands up, staring down the barrel. Up close, I could see him better, maybe 40. Scruffy beard, sunburned face, and eyes that looked way too calm for someone pulling a stunt like this. He told us to toss our phones and wallets onto the ground. We didn't argue, just threw them down, my hands shaking so bad I could barely unzip my bag. He made us back up while he scooped up our stuff. keeping the gun pointed at us the whole time. Then, he pulled a pocket knife, slashed the Bronco's front tire, and strolled back to his van. I noticed it had no license plates, just a blank spot, which made my blood run cold. He peeled out, leaving a cloud of dust, and was gone. Emma was fuming, cursing about her Bronco. I was just trying not to puke after being held at gunpoint. We couldn't call anyone, no phones, and the tire was toast. Lucas and I swapped it with the spare as fast as we could, but we knew there was no catching this guy. Once we were mobile, Emma floored it in the direction he'd gone, but it was pointless. The highway was empty. We drove back to town in dead silence, too shaken to talk. At Emma's house, we used her mom's phone to call the cops, giving them every detail, the guy's description, the gray van, no plates. They filed a report but said it'd be tough without more to go on. We never heard back, and as far as I know, the dude's still out there. That day was supposed to be the ultimate summer kickoff, but it turned into a nightmare. It killed our vibe for weeks. None of us felt safe hitting up remote spots after that. I've got some footage from the climb I'll pop up on the screen. Check out that view. It was almost worth the chaos. If you've ever had a run-in like this or know anything about sketchy stuff near Zion, drop it in the comments. Stay sharp out there, and don't forget to like and subscribe for more crazy stories. Catch you in the next one. Hey, what's up, explorers? It's Tyler again, and this one's a doozy from 3 summers ago. I was 19, fresh out of high school, and my older sister Ava had just graduated college in Oregon. She'd been out there for 4 years, collecting a ton of stuff, furniture, books, you name it. No way was she flying it all back to Ohio, so we decided to make a cross-country road trip out of it. I mean a road trip across the US. That's a summer adventure I was all in for. Buckle up, because this one gets weird. Hit that like button, and let's roll. We could have taken the straight shot through Idaho and Nebraska, but Ava wanted to see some of the countries she'd been reading about in her history classes. I'd never been to places like Arches or Mesa Verde, so we planned a southern route to hit up some national parks. Ava rented a U-Haul trailer for her stuff, not huge, but big enough to feel like we were hauling a house. Our parents and every travel blog we checked had the same warning: watch out in New Mexico. Nothing about the whole state being bad, but there were stories about scams, petty crime in small towns, and sketchy vibes in the desert. Dad was like, don't stop in New Mexico unless you have to, and stick to big gas stations. Ava and I agreed. Fill up in Arizona, blast through New Mexico, and stop again in Texas. Solid plan, right? Spoiler, it didn't go that way. The trip started out amazing. Arches was unreal. Mesa Verde blew my mind. And the Arizona desert was like driving through a painting. But somewhere in the middle of New Mexico, our plan fell apart. The U-Haul was chugging gas way faster than Ava expected, and the gauge was dipping below a quarter tank. We checked the GPS. Next gas station was 50 miles away, and we weren't sure we'd make it. Ava pulled over to double-check the map, and we realized we had to stop. There was a tiny town about 15 miles ahead with a gas station. Not ideal, but better than getting stranded in the desert. The town was tiny, like a few hundred people, max. It had that eerie desert quiet, like everyone was hiding inside. A couple of rundown buildings, a dusty main street, and no other cars passing through, which felt weird for being so close to a highway. The gas station was one of those old-school spots, with 2 pumps and a convenience store that looked like it hadn't been updated since the 90s. Ava started filling up, while I stayed in the truck, scrolling on my phone. I noticed a few locals giving us weird looks, not hostile, just intense. There was this one guy by the store, chewing tobacco, staring at us like we were aliens. I told myself it was just 'cause we were outsiders with Ohio plates on a U-Haul, but it still gave me the creeps. Once the tank was full, I took over navigating to get us back to the highway. Should have been easy. We could literally see the highway from parts of the town, but every road we took seemed to loop us away. Streets would curve, dead end, or just lead us deeper into the town. It was like the place was designed to trap us. The GPS was useless. It kept trying to send us down roads that didn't exist or were blocked off. The signal was trash, cutting in and out, leaving us stuck driving in circles. I was getting antsy, and Ava was gripping the wheel so tight. Her knuckles were white. It felt wrong, like the town didn't want us to leave. I know that sounds crazy, but that's the vibe. After 25 minutes of this nonsense, Ava was like, screw it, I'm going back to the gas station to ask for directions. I begged her not to. She was the one who'd been all about avoiding sketchy stops, but she was freaking out, saying we were stuck in the one place we were supposed to avoid. I stayed quiet and let her go. She parked at the gas station and went inside while I waited in the truck, heart racing. When she came back, she looked spooked. She said the clerk gave her directions, but they were bizarre. Drive 20 miles away, from the highway through some back roads to loop back to I was like, are you kidding? We can see the highway. She said the guy was friendly, but weirdly pushy, asking where we were headed, how long we'd be on the road, stuff like that. It didn't sit right with her either. She was like, don't trust this guy. We're getting out of here. We started driving, trying to find any road that looked promising, when a rusty blue pickup pulled up next to us on a quiet street. My heart sank. The driver, some older dude with a trucker hat, rolled down his window and asked if we were lost. Ava hesitated, sizing him up. I was in the passenger seat, trying not to panic, but I was this close to losing it. After a tense moment, Ava said we were just trying to get back to the highway and repeated the clerk's directions. The guy's face changed like, dead serious, and he said, you're not actually following that, are you? That road's a death trap. He told us it led to a remote area known for shady stuff, like smuggling or worse. He gave us new directions, pointing us to a gravel road just outside town. Before we could thank him, he peeled out, leaving us in a cloud of dust. We didn't say a word. Ava just drove, following the guy's directions. Sure enough, about a mile out, we found this hidden gravel road, barely visible unless you knew it was there. It was the weirdest, most roundabout way to the highway, but it worked. We hit the main road and didn't stop until we were well into Texas. We barely talked about it the rest of the trip, just wanted to put it behind us. Now, we laugh about it when we tell the story at family dinners, but at the time, it was pure dread, like we were one wrong turn from something bad. If you've ever been stuck in a creepy town or had a close call on a road trip, let me know in the comments. Hit that like button, subscribe, and I'll see you in the next adventure. What's good, crew? It's Tyler, and I've got one more for you. From 5 summers back, my girlfriend at the time, let's call her Lena, had just graduated college, and I'd been out of school a year. We're not together anymore, but it was all good vibes back then, no regrets. Lena was half Italian, half Mexican, and had this fire for adventure. We'd been dreaming about a big trip to Italy forever, and when she graduated, she was like, we're doing this. Lena's the type who, once she sets her mind on something, it's happening, call it that Latin spark, you know? So, we planned this budget-friendly summer trip to Italy, ending in this small coastal town called Amalfi, where her grandma grew up. Hit that subscribe button, and let's get into the wildest part of that trip. Money was tight, so we were pinching pennies. No fancy hotels, think sketchy Airbnbs, and hostels with reviews like bed was okay, but the walls are thin. We didn't care. We were just stoked to be going. Rome and Naples were awesome, even on a shoestring budget, packed with tourists, cheap eats, and tons to see for free. But Amalfi was different. It's this gorgeous town on the coast, but it's not exactly a tourist hotspot like Rome. Lena and I stuck out like sore thumbs, clearly not locals. Lena speaks decent Italian, not perfect, but enough to get by, and I was picking up some phrases. Our first day was chill, wandering the narrow streets, chatting with shopkeepers, and soaking up the vibe. Lena's a people person, and I'm not shy. So we were having a blast talking to anyone who'd humor us still. I noticed some locals giving us weird looks, not curious, but intense, like they were sizing us up. Lena didn't seem fazed, so I brushed it off as me being paranoid. On our second day, we wanted to eat somewhere authentic, not the touristy spots. A guy at our Airbnb mentioned this local food market a 20-minute walk from the town center, supposed to have killer seafood stalls. It sounded perfect, so we headed out, strolling through quiet residential streets that got emptier the farther we went. The market was small, just a cluster of stalls and a lot with a few tables. We found a spot serving fresh fish and pasta, and the smell was insane, like best meal of the trip. We ordered a ton of food: grilled octopus, spaghetti with clams, some cheap wine, and dug in, feeling like we'd hit the jackpot. Halfway through, I noticed a group of 4 guys sit down a few stalls away. They looked rough, think leather jackets, scars, the kind of dudes you'd avoid in any country. They were eating, not looking at us, so I didn't think much of it. I was too busy stuffing my face and laughing with Lena, but then she went quiet, staring past me toward those guys. Her face changed, and before I could ask what was up, she leaned in and whispered, "We need to go now." I was like, what? Why? But the look in her eyes shut me up. Lena doesn't spook easily, so if she's saying bounce, I'm listening. I threw down way too much cash for the food, and we bolted for the exit. Lena practically dragging me. Outside, she said she'd overheard the guys talking in Italian. They were planning something about separating the tourists and taking care of the girl. She said it wasn't like they were joking. It sounded like a plan they'd done before. My heart was racing. I tried to say maybe. She misheard, but she was shaking, insisting we get back to the main town. I glanced back, and all 4 guys were outside now, watching us. Not subtle, just staring. When they saw me look, they started walking our way fast. I grabbed Lena's hand, and we ran, full-on sprinting through these empty streets. No clue if we were even going the right way. I could hear their footsteps behind us, getting closer. Lena was faster than me, but I kept up, fueled by pure panic. It felt like forever. But after maybe 10 minutes, we hit the main town square, packed with people and vendors. I looked back, and the guys had stopped, just standing at the edge of the crowd, watching us. It was like they knew they couldn't do anything with witnesses around. We were both shaking, out of breath. Lena was holding back tears, which freaked me out. She's tough as nails. We ducked into a busy cafe and sat there, trying to calm down. An older Italian woman at the next table overheard us talking and asked if we were okay. We told her what happened, and her face got grim. She said we'd wandered into a rough part of town, that the market was known for shady types tied to local gangs. She wasn't mean, but she called us naive for going there alone, especially as obvious tourists. When Lena described the stall, the woman looked like she'd seen a ghost, saying we were lucky to get out. We didn't stick around. We went straight back to our Airbnb, locked the door, and barely left for the rest of the trip. We spent our last day watching movies on Lena's laptop, counting down to our flight. Looking back, Lena's quick thinking saved us. If she hadn't understood Italian or acted fast, I don't want to think about what could have happened. It's a reminder that even a dream trip can turn dark if you're not careful. If you've had a close call like this or know about sketchy spots in a mall, hit me up in the comments. Like, subscribe, and I'll catch you in the next one. Stay safe out there.